Here's the harsh secret that landed on me like thunder. The world is a reflection of who you are. Not a moral sentence, just a mirror. When my perspective was cramped, the world looked small. When I shifted my inner lens, reality rearranged itself. If you want to change the world, you have to change the eye that's looking. Your values, your attitudes, your stance toward life. That's when the scenery moves. This isn't a journey across continents, it's an inward voyage. And like Perseus facing Medusa, our task is to face what petrifies us without letting it turn us to stone. My first instinct was denial. Surely the world must change before I do. I wanted the storm outside to calm so I could finally be peaceful within. But I realized I was demanding the mirror to smile before I did. Have you ever waited for someone else to blink first, telling yourself that then you'll soften? Like Perseus, I looked for detours. Maybe I could defeat the monster by accident or with a shortcut. But the message returned, insistent. If I keep staring directly at the chaos, I become it. The only way forward is to change how I look. Then came the invitation I could no longer refuse. Change your lens. Change your world. Athena's gift to Perseus, the mirrored shield, felt like the exact symbol I needed. Instead of staring at problems head-on and hardening, I could adopt a wiser angle. Jesus taught, remove the log from your own eye before pointing at the speck in another's. The log is the distortion. The removal is reconfiguring values. What do I prize? Domination or understanding? Impatience or curiosity? Cynicism or courage? Revaluing even one axis refracted everything. I decided to practice. One situation, one attitude shift, one degree of freedom at a time. Of course, the ego protested. My habits insisted the outside was to blame. I heard a voice within whisper, just look directly. Prove you're strong enough, but strength is not recklessness, it's accurate seeing. Carl Jung would say, the Medusa is a fragment of the shadow. Aspects we refuse to integrate become petrifying when stared at in denial. So I trained myself to turn slightly, to see through a wiser instrument. Nietzsche reminds us that we do not see the world as it is, but as our drives condition us to see it. Why not refine those drives? Why not polish the shield? Crossing the threshold meant more than ideas. It meant daily rituals. I woke asking, what lens am I choosing? Before difficult conversations, I practiced humility like armor. Before decisions, I scaled my values. Does this align with who I'm becoming? When anxiety surged, I adjusted the angle, look indirectly like Perseus, through principle rather than panic. Jesus said the kingdom of God is within you. I took that as coordinates. The quality of the inner realm radiates into the outer. Each small pivot, a kinder word, a longer breath, a truer boundary, kept me from freezing. Slowly the cave air warmed. Trials began where I lived, conversations that usually spiraled, projects that triggered old impatience, the subtle lure to be right instead of real. I practiced seeing people as teachers, not obstacles, events as feedback, not verdicts. The shield taught me distance with compassion. Don't fuse with the monster, don't deny it, navigate with clarity. Jung would call this the work of individuation, integrating the frightening parts without being devoured by them. I asked myself, what in me is being reflected here? What value wants upgrading? The world bent, almost imperceptibly, as I adjusted my stance. Have you ever felt reality respond to your inner posture? One test stripped me bare. A conflict I knew by heart. The usual script escalated, but I held the mirror between reaction and response. Instead of attacking, I asked for truth. Instead of defending, I listened. It wasn't passivity, it was precision. Marcus Aurelius said, you have power over your mind, not outside events. In that moment, power returned to my hands. The outcome didn't flip instantly, but something fundamental did. I didn't turn to stone. I watched the old narrative crack, like a statue warming back to life. Have you ever witnessed a fight dissolve because you refused to feed it? Then came the abyss, the inner chamber where the source lives. Not the person I opposed, not the circumstances I blamed, but the posture in me that loved being right more than being whole. The monster wasn't outside, it was the gaze I used to meet reality. In that silence I felt fear rise, a pressure to look directly, to prove courage by staring it down. But Perseus teaches a subtler valor. Let wisdom aim the blade, To change the world, I had to change the seer. I held the shield steady, aligned my values, and stepped closer to the heart of stone. The final confrontation was terrifyingly quiet. I realized my hardest belief was this: if I soften, I'll lose. If I yield, I'll vanish. That belief had frozen whole rooms of my life. I saw it in the shield, my own eyes, hard and scared. Then I remembered. The lens creates the landscape. I chose a different value, truth over triumph, courage over certainty. I moved with gentle accuracy and cut through the old posture. The head fell, which is to say, the belief lost authority. The world didn't explode, it opened. There's a relief that only comes when the gaze changes first. On the return, I noticed how different everything looked, even though nothing had objectively changed. Streets, faces, deadlines, same ingredients, new meal. With the head of the monster contained, Perseus could navigate anywhere. With the petrifying belief disarmed, I could bring presence into places that once froze me. Jung would say a piece of the shadow was integrated. Its energy now serves life rather than terrorizes it. I wasn't naive, I was oriented. The mirror shield had become my daily practice. Check the lens, tune the value, then act. The world kept mirroring back a kinder, clearer geometry. Here is the paradox I carry home. When I stopped trying to force the world to change, the world began to change, not by magic, but by reflection. I became a steadier mirror, and people met themselves more gently in me. Jesus' wisdom rings loud. Cleanse the inside of the cup and the outside follows. Marcus Aurelius nods. Your rulership is inward. The empire outside arranges around that throne. This doesn't mean ignoring injustice. It means entering action with a purified gaze. I act more clearly now, and my outcomes bear the scent of clarity rather than the smoke of reactivity. So if the world is a reflection, what lens are you wearing today? What value, if shifted by a single degree, might bend light into a new reality? Have you ever noticed that when you change your posture, the same room greets you differently? This isn't self-absorption, it's self-responsibility. The journey is inward so your impact can be outward. I'm still learning. One breath, one boundary, one reframing at a time. Tell me in the comments, what belief once questioned changed the landscape you saw? This reflection was authored by Felipe Brando, my own shield polished into words, offered for your next brave step.